Yeah, you guys can see.
I went to
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Well, I
Friday,
got,
Saturday.
that's right. I got mine.
Oh,
Do you want this
oh,
jacket?
oh,
But I had
24 meeting of the Danville City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call to establish a quorum, please.
Mayor Ricky Williams Jr.
Present.
Alderman Ed Butler.
Present.
Heidi Wilson.
Present.
Carolyn Wands.
Present.
James Burchard.
Present.
Mike O'Kane.
Here.
Bob Iverson.
Present.
Mike Poore.
Present.
Rick Streebing.
Here.
Sherry Pickering.
Here.
Eve Ludwig.
Present.
Tricia Teague.
Present.
Robert Williams.
Present.
Darren York.
Here.
John Cooper.
Here.
14 present.
14 present. We do have a quorum. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Minister Brenda Brown, one of our own, and we will be followed with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Carolyn Wands. Please rise.
Let us bow in reverence to God. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we come today, Lord, thanking you first for another day. Lord, how you blessed us, come a long way through these years with the city of Danville. Now, God, we ask you to bless us that we will conduct business so we can see many more fruitful years for the city of Danville. God, we ask that you touch each councilman here today, oh God. Touch their hearts, touch their mind, God. Give them wisdom, give them discernment to do and say and vote what is good for this community, God. And Father, we will be ever grateful for you blessing us this way. Now, Lord, we ask that you bless those that are in attendance tonight, oh God, that we will be with this meeting. We will have peace. We will have joy. We will have love that will abide with us, oh God, not only tonight, but throughout the years to come. Lord, we're grateful for Danville. Thank you how you've blessed us, God, and we ask that you continue, oh God, to bless each one, God, and bless these councilmen, bless our mayor, bless the administration staff, oh God, our policemen, our firemen, all, God, that conduct business for this city, oh God. Again, we're grateful for all these blessings, and we ask this in thy Son, Jesus' name. Thank God and amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Alderwoman and Minister Brown. We appreciate you being with us this evening. Very good. Thank you. Before you have the minutes of the September 3rd meeting. Is there a motion to approve those?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you so much. You also have before you an agenda this evening. I would like to switch items 11 and 12. That way we will receive the Public Services Committee report first and then the Public Works Committee report. So 11, everything under 11 would become 12, and everything under 12 would become 11. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Items of my report, I do not have any proclamations or board or committee or personnel appointments at this time. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Seeing none, items of information, just want to remind you that we have the Glow 5K coming up downtown in a couple of weeks. Hope you'll come out there and walk and run that with us. And also, I wanted to make sure that we took some time to recognize a couple of our firefighters. We had Lieutenant Hogue, Firefighter Toller, and Firefighter Kohler, and Firefighter Toth, who on July 28th saved a life in our community in the line of duty. So let's please give them a round of applause. This time that concludes my report. Are there any petitions, communications, or audience comments?
Has everyone had a chance to complete a yellow card who wishes to speak this evening? Okay, when I call your name, please come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. First, I have Pastor Thomas Miller of Danville in support of the mayor.
Give honor to God tonight, to the mayor, to all of the council tonight, everybody here. I just wanted to come tonight, Mayor, to say that I am.
Pastor Miller, might you raise your microphone just a bit? Thank you.
I
I
am
never
in-
thought I would have to say we couldn't hear you, but I wanted.
I'm in support, Mayor, of the decision concerning bringing more people into our community and understanding the final responsibility for that will end up, at your desk and community, and the council will also be held accountable if anything were to go wrong. And so, again, I know your concern is for our community, just as you have been since you've been our mayor. One other thing, I'm also understanding how you possibly was feeling when Dr. Napko addressed you as boy. We know, as African American males, this term were used many times to dishonor us, disrespect us. I know Dr. Napko said he didn't mean it that way, and so we can only take his word for that. But again, as an African American male, I understand and how that is offensive because of the history of being called a boy. And so just praying for you. I am praying for our council. I'm praying for our city that we'll move forward and that we'll continue to work together as a community, and we'll continue to do our very best to help as many people within our community that we can. And so just so everybody be clear, I'm going to leave, not right now, but I've got another appointment, so don't think I got mad.
Thank you, Pastor Miller.
Sue Colby of Danville regarding Vermilion Heights events and grant.
Sir, you left this a little high here. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Colby. I'm the director of Vermilion Heights, and I just wanted to say a big thank you for rewarding us, for giving us the grant program. It's the first grant given to our neighborhoods, and it's for $2,500. We love that, so we're ready to spend that. Our theme is blossoming friendships within a beautiful, clean, and safe neighborhood. And what we did this weekend is we had our Heights cleanup. Because we're having the Fall Festival this weekend. And so we really want to encourage everybody to come to that. But I tell you, it was a hot day. But we got it done. We had a walking cleanup where we went around the neighborhood and picked up all kinds of things. It was very interesting. And then we have a dumpster clean off too, so people could come and throw things back in the dumpster. So it was great. A big thanks out to Mayor Williams and to Rick, Strebe, our alderman, the Public Works, and Dustin Brown. Him and I worked really well together. And Rihanna Olis, who is great. We really have a blessing with her. So, as I said, we want to thank you guys so much. And Vermilion Heights is on the roll. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sue, for everything that you and the neighbors in the Heights do for our community and for your neighborhood.
Tom Grillo of Thomasboro regarding special use permit 265.
Hello, thanks for having me tonight. Fingers crossed tonight goes better than last time I was in front of the board, so I got my fingers and toes going here. Tonight, asking for a special use permit to build a mini warehouse facility at 3811 North Vermilion. This is the site of the former Tilton Auto Sales facility. We initially bought the property in hopes to kind of revamp the building. I met with community development about some potential ideas, what could work in that building. Unfortunately, that building just sat empty for way too long after the roof was not kept up and just too much water damage inside. And we had to look at other potential uses, and we landed on a kind of mini warehouse. Which, with that zoning, requires a special use permit. It's zone B2 now, where gas stations, convenience stores, laundromats, check cashing facilities are all allowed by right. And we felt a mini warehouse is very non-intrusive to the neighborhood, very low traffic comparatively to other by right uses. So yeah, I'll be available for questions if there's any from the board, and I think that's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sharon Clore of Danville regarding special use permit 265.
I come tonight, I'm not 50% for or 50% against, but I do have some questions. Could I ask this gentleman some questions? Is that permitted?
Yes, ma'am, since it is an item that we're voting on, we would allow it at this time. Yes, because once the rest of the meeting is started, then that opportunity would not be available. So yes, ma'am, you may.
Thank you. The lighting, my understanding is, will go down because one business there lit up the entire inside of my house at night.
Correct. All dark skies compliant.
Thank you. How high the fence will be?
8 feet.
8 feet?
Correct.
Thank you. And will there be someone in Danville that we will be able to contact if there's problems?
Correct. Yep. We have some other developments in Danville, and there'll be a person in charge of,
And we will be able to know that?
Yep. There'll be a sign there that they'll be reachable. So.
Okay, and then, do you know how far down, I know there's 2 entrances into that now.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be the first one, the second one, or a new one?
It's the far eastern one, which.
Okay, I know the one you're
closest
talking about.
to the houses, which isn't completely ideal, but it worked out best for the layout. So.
And it will not be open all night?
At this point, no. We're expecting to restrict access up until 11 or 12 at night, but it's still, those are details undecided, so.
Because those buildings that are there are deplorable. I will
Terrible.
be the first to tell
Yep.
you that. And the one that sits empty scares me to death for what could be in there. But sometimes things go good at first and then they turn bad.
Yep.
So
Understood.
I can't say that I'm happy about opening my front door and looking at storage facility sheds, but I'm willing to give it a try. Thank you so much.
For what it's worth, ma'am, we did plan on putting evergreen vegetation along that fence line, so.
I don't live on the fence line. I live across the street.
Understood. Okay.
Thank,
On the fence line, you would have a major fight.
thank,
If you want to check this out also, you're welcome.
thank you, Mrs. Clore.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Tammy Wilson of Danville regarding permit number 265.
Good evening, all. My name is Tammy Wilson, and I reside at 3810 Sunny Lane. So that, where you gonna put on that fence line? That's my fence line. That is my fence line, and I have some concerns also. And I was gonna talk about, because the street's so narrow, if they're bringing boats and things like that to come down that street, that's gonna block up Vermillion Street also. It's gonna stop Vermillion Street trying to get into that, into Sunny Lane. If they're gonna bring large trucks or boats or whatever, trying to get into those storages, it's gonna back up, it's gonna stop Vermillion Street. It's gonna stop traffic on Vermillion Street trying to get on that narrow street. My other concern is the rodents. When people leave things in those storages and they just forget about them or move out of town and say, I'm not worried about them anymore, and you open up those storages, I know people have done that, and there's all kind of rodents in there. I'm concerned about my property and the rodents coming to my area. That would be on me having to pay to keep that, the exterminators coming. That's more cost on me. So that's not fair to me either. And the hours, right now, people use that dumpster. I can hear them all types of hours, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. If he's saying for right now is temporary hours, that doesn't mean it's gonna stay that way. I mean, he may change it, but I can hear all that.
Understood. For what it's worth, I'm happy to make hours part of the special use permit conditions. Also, though, I will rebuttal that and just say, I could put a gas station there right now as well and not have to ask for permission. I just want to make sure you understand the flip side of it, that the potential developments that could go there, while I understand your concerns, I just also want to make sure you understand that it is Zone B2 that is a pretty heavy commercial property. So.
I understand that, but I have a right to my opinion too. So I do understand that, yes, I do. But like I said, as far as the hours, like I said, 11, 12 o'clock at night, people can't sleep like that when you got traffic going all night, all times of the night. And who's to say that they won't come in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? Are they gonna be locked out?
Yes, ma'am. So the property will be fenced in and it will be gated and there'll be access restrictions. And so we can cut that off at certain times and not allow access beyond certain times.
How far are you coming down with those trees or whatever you're gonna put there on my fence line?
Along my eastern property line, down the eastern property line, where it borders the residential properties.
Okay, because and how high are they gonna be?
Well, they're evergreen, so I mean, I assume I'd probably plant them and they'll be about 5 foot tall.
Yes.
And in 5 years, they'll probably be, 10 foot tall, and, so I assume we'll use emerald greens, which
That's-
top out about 12 foot
But that's going right to the street on Sunny Lane, right?
up to where we're allowed to. I forget how far off the street we're allowed to do that, but
Because I was told I couldn't put any, because I was gonna put a fence all the way down to the street. I was told I couldn't put anything more than 4 feet, is what I was told.
They wouldn't be allowed to it by law. They have to stop at a certain place so that you can see, people will be able to see going in and out of the driveway. So,
Well, those are my concerns,
Thank
like I said, because I'm more concerned about the rodents and the cost it's gonna be for me, having to pay, keep us exterminating because of the rodents that may come across to my property. That's my main concern, and the traffic, and all the noise, and the hours, the late hours, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. People can't sleep like that, and they've got all that traffic coming in.
thank you, Mrs. Wilson. Thank you very much. Yes, Vice
I
Mayor.
actually want to ask Ms. Wilson a question.
Okay.
Because I know you're on the zoning commission, and our records here say that you concurred with the recommendation.
No, I abstained.
You abstained. That
Yes.
is not what this says.
Yes, I abstained.
Okay, thank you for
You're
that
welcome.
clarification, because that is not what the record says.
If you abstain, I believe Corporation Counsel is out medically, but I believe if you abstain, it goes with the majority.
It says, but there's a not voting category on here. So abstention should be on not voting category because the not voting category is blank.
I understand your concern, but I think, again, procedurally, we'll have to ask Corporation Counsel, but I do believe that it counts as voting with the majority when you abstain.
It is noted on the ordinance as abstained.
Okay, am I misreading this? It's in 2 places. Oh, it's in 2 different places?
Yeah, in the actual ordinance itself, it is noted as 1 abstain.
Okay,
So the formal record is correct. I'm sure you're looking at the findings of fact.
Yes, I am looking at the
Yep.
findings of fact, and the
Yep.
findings of fact shows concurring with recommendation, and it lists names, and it lists Tammy Wilson's name.
Yep.
That's why I asked the question.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
David Albin regarding Longview Bank. Are you from Newman?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
He's from Newman, Illinois.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate the time. I know time is valuable. I am Chairman of the Board, CEO of Longview Capital Corporation, and Chairman of the Board of Longview Bank.
Mr. Albin, can you raise the microphone
I'm
just
sorry.
a bit?
I am Chairman of the Board and CEO of Longview Capital Corporation, which is a holding company that owns Longview Bank, and Chairman of its board. We are hopefully in the process of locating a bank up on the north end of town. I think it's 4201 North Vermillion. We really would like to do that. We've had some engineers working on it, and they are having difficulties getting through the process, just to be frank with you. And we're not sure exactly why. They indicate to us that they seem like there's extra roadblocks and things coming our way. And if that's the case, we will respect that, and we will go someplace else and let it go. If we can work together, we would love to locate there and service the people of Danville. Just recently, Longview Bank, the News Gazette People's Award was awarded the best bank, the best place to get a mortgage, and also the best place to work. And I would think you would want that in your community. We think the people of this community are worth that. But that's the call of the committee and the call of the organization that's here before me. And so I throw that out, and I know there's a problem, and one of the problems may be me, and I'm gonna address it straightforward. I got called into a subpoena and I had to tell the truth, and I did. And it dealt with the Paul Alford case, and I'm just being straightforward because I'm gonna give you till Monday to decide. And if we don't have a positive feeling that we can get this accomplished in a timely fashion, we're gonna abandon it and go someplace else. And I don't care. I can go someplace else and develop it and provide those people with great service. So I leave that at that.
Mr. Albin, all I would say is that I've met with you personally.
Yes.
I've met with your peers personally,
Correct.
and we've told you that we would do everything that we could to help you. You have not called me. You have not emailed me with any concerns or complaints. So I'm disappointed to hear this here because, as I said to you, we will do all that we can to help you. And I have not heard from you via email or via telephone.
My contractor, Chris Moffett, who's back there.
I haven't heard from Mr. Moffett either.
Turned in it, and I think the engineers have been talking to your engineers. You're right. I don't know if anybody's contacted you directly. And I came to you first, seriously, because I knew there was a situation and I didn't want to get in the middle of it, to be frank. And I'm not, that's fine, you know, and maybe I should have come back to you, but I thought the people would take care of it that you have on your side.
Sure. All I can tell you is that the same as anyone, just as my parents were written up for a code violation recently and received a citation in the home that I grew up in, the same as many other people here on this council have been written up for various things. We require everyone to follow the same rules. And so I'm sure that our people are requiring your folks to follow the rules, and we will make sure that we do everything we can to help you get across the finish line. If the clerk has your phone number, and I'll be sure to be in touch with you,
Okay.
myself personally.
Thank you. And
It's not a matter of wanting you here,
No,
but
no.
we will require you to follow the
Hey,
rules.
I agree, and we want to follow the rules, but I will tell you, my engineer says he does it all over this area, has never seen anything quite like this. So I use his quote as that.
Well, thank you much. Yes.
You know, I hope this deal comes through. I mean, he's talking about the place right across the street from Walmart.
That's correct.
And I would really hope you're right. I hope the city is helping this guy, trying to locate his business here in town. I mean, we've got to be a business-friendly atmosphere, and I've heard both. I've heard we are, and I've heard we're not. But I would truly hope that we're helping this guy out, trying to locate this business here. If he needs an answer Monday or Tuesday of next week, somebody's got to call him and say, this is what we need, what we don't need. You know, we need to help the guy out and put him on here.
My guess is that they've been provided emails with what is needed, we will make sure that we provide a written copy of everything that is needed to you. And you know what? Just because it's been brought here publicly, I'll make sure that you all as the aldermen are copied on it as well so that you can see everything. But again, we treat everyone the same.
I appreciate that.
And we're excited about this. There's no interest for us to not have you be here.
Well, I don't think
We
so.
want, as I told you very
People
much, we
deserve it.
want you to be here.
People deserve it, and we want to provide it. And so,
Absolutely. I think you guys do great business, and we're excited to have you.
well, I appreciate it.
Thank you, and I welcome you.
My plan, I'm just going to tell you my plan because we're running into winter. My plan is we have FDIC approval to locate there already. And my plan is to make a decision next Monday on whether to stay or go. And I'll just leave that to you for your thoughts, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got a comment
Yes.
as well. I'd like to say that I really appreciate you coming to bring a bank in our town. I mean, we've been getting coffee shops and car washes here so long here that I appreciate the bank is coming in to employ several people within our bank. I'm hoping that we do get the information as far as the outcome, and I know this is the middle of September.
Right.
And being a contractor myself, I mean, expediency is important because when you start laying brick and foundations, you got to add, cost of money to put additives in your concrete so it won't freeze. And then laying brick, I mean, I would hate to see contractors out there trying to lay brick there with gloves on there, to keep your hand from being cold. So I hate that you have to go through all these ropes, all these terminals.
We're
I
willing
mean,
to do what needs to
we
be done.
got our engineers. If you got to keep going to the mayor, I mean, why have engineers?
Well,
and
you
inspectors?
you need professionals, just like I need my contractor that's nervous as hell back there because he wants to get started.
You're right.
And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping that our people will
Yeah, I hope so too, 'cause we
work
really-
expediently.
We want to be there, but we can move a mile north and not be there.
Thank
Right.
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
And
yes.
I would like to go ahead, Mister.
Yes, we have several banks here in Danville. I'd like to know what your reason for moving here to Danville?
Well, earlier this year, we built one in Tilton, the one down by the GMC dealership. And we've got a lot of banks in East Central Illinois. We have a lot of customers north of Danville. We do a lot of ag, we do a lot of mortgage lending, and we do some commercial lending. And we have a lot of customers north of Danville, Hoopston, Bismarck. We have some come from Attica, Indiana, and some people come over from that direction. And so to try to maintain, and they've been awful loyal to us, that we're building up there to be handier for them and to, we think we've really, probably in the last 2 or 3 years, really stepped up our mortgage business. And we probably have, I would say this, we have probably the 2 best mortgage lenders and probably the 2 that do the most volume in all of Vermilion County. And it's Shanna Fisher and Kayla Anderson. And they do a lot. And so we're getting up here to where it'll be handier for them and handier for the people of Danville.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvin.
Thank you.
I want to say for the record that I'm incredibly proud of our engineering and community development staff. They show the utmost professionalism at all times. And just because someone makes a public assertion or question doesn't mean that they have not done their jobs and done it well. So I want to commend you all, Assistant City Engineer, all of your team, Mr. Rui, Mr. Cronk, and your team. Thank you for your professionalism.
Mayor, just this property in question is where the exercise place is going to go. Did they get the drainage issues corrected that the state was?
I couldn't tell you. That's a question for our.
He's got it.
Can I answer a little bit of that? When I came and talked to Ricky, and we had a great conversation, and he was very upfront about me. He said there were about 3 issues for that property. One was the people in that subdivision didn't want to use that.
Can you please
Mr.
come to
Alvin,
the
can you come to
microphone?
I'm sorry. Sorry. There were 3 issues that Ricky brought to my attention, and I appreciate it. One was the citizens in that card soccer, in those residents didn't want them to be using that. Well, we have basically got a entryway off of Vermilion right onto that property directly. Number 2 was drainage, and the building that we're building is about 25%, will take only about 25% of what the other building will as far as its footprint goes. And 3 was lighting for the back. And we're gonna be up towards the front, and we don't need lights in the back at night, or we can have them pointed down. We will not bother anybody with our lighting. So with and I really appreciated you telling me that. And we looked around, and Ricky said, you might want to look someplace else because of those issues, And so I drove up and down Vermilion 3 or 4 times with 3 or 4 other people, and the ones over by the lake are just a little too narrow. There's not enough room to really get a good bank in there and put the drive-ups. The ones on the other side had big buildings, and I tried to contact a few of them and get a hold of them. So I just decided that really is probably the best spot if we can get it put together there. And so that's where we are, and I appreciate Ricky's help in getting those 3 things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pastor Randy Downing of Danville regarding immigrants in Danville.
Well, I've got a new appreciation for you watching you work tonight. You have to balance what's best for the city with what's best for the citizens of our city. And that is a job that I would not very much enjoy sitting in your seat. What I have noticed about the mayor is that he is no respecter of persons. He treats everybody exactly the same. And he has no problem with my skin color, with Indian skin color, with Asian skin color. He has no problem working with anybody that's willing to work with him. And for me, that's what I need to see in a mayor. I need to see a mayor who respects all walks of life exactly the same, no matter what side of the tracks you come
I'm
from.
gonna stand up and clap for you.
Thank you very much. And, you know, it's really great for us to understand that we have a mayor who is willing to seek out any grant he can find on behalf of our police department, on behalf of our fire department, on behalf of our streets, on behalf of making our community a better place to live. There are 28 grants out there available for any community that's willing to welcome immigrants. The problem with those grants is none of them are grants for security and extra police to be able to provide for the added crime rate that's associated with undocumented people coming to our city. And when the mayor stood up for our city, it made me so proud, Mr. Mayor, for you to stand up for our city and make a decision that you were going to stand up for putting Danville first. I appreciate so much your work with what you've done for the employees of Quaker Oats that have lost their job, and how you've tried in every way to work with all of the organizations of our community together to support them. You have done a marvelous job by honoring them with the Labor Day parade. That was just a very great thing that you did for them. And I know you're going to make the right decision for our city when it comes to undocumented people coming into our community. It's not that we don't care about people. That's not any part of this at all. We get about 20 phone calls a week asking to help people in our community. And it breaks my heart every time I have to say no, because we don't have the resources to help everybody that we have right now. So please remember and read the articles in the Chicago Tribune in Chicago, and read the articles. We have 6.5% unemployment right now in the city of Danville as of July. And the unemployment rate in Illinois is only 5.5%. So what are we going to do with more of these people coming into our community that don't have jobs and don't have work? I just am so grateful to you for thinking about our community and putting our community first. Thank you for doing that very much. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Randy.
I have a question for Mr. Downing.
Yes.
Where do you find the statistics for the extra crime with
Sure.
immigrants?
Thank you. So this is from the Chicago Tribune, April 27, 2024.
Okay.
And you can go on there and you can find this information out. In fact, I'd be happy to leave you my copy or leave it with the mayor so he can forward it to all of you if you'd like to do that. Maybe the whole city council would be interested in those statistics.
Okay.
Just to share with you, if you like, for a couple of them. 1 out of 9 arrests during the period from 2022 to the first 3 months of 2024, 1 out of 9 arrests were made concerning undocumented people that were in the city of Chicago.
1
out of 9.
1 out of 9.
Yes, 1 out of 9.
So 11%.
So 11%, right? 285 homicides and murders were committed by undocumented people in the city of Chicago between 2022 and 2024.
Okay.
All right, and there are a lot more statistics in that article, should you choose to take a look at it. That, I'll say it again, that was April 27th, the Chicago Tribune. And you are it's very hard pressed to find people that are willing to share those statistics, to be honest with you. And the way that the city of Chicago works with these statistics is they don't base them on the names of individuals from other countries. They base them on the nationality origin. So they register them as this nationality origin committed a homicide, this nationality committed a murder.
Okay.
All right.
And then my other question, well, in addition to that, you do realize that Chicago is 50 times larger than the city of Danville. So their crime rate is going to be much higher.
Yeah, so I
first
started
and
checking
foremost.
with Champaign too,
Mhm.
and I didn't get all of my homework done. I apologize for that with Champaign. But there is a trend of cities that have undocumented workers with, I'm not talking violent crimes. A lot of these crimes were concerning driving violations, motor vehicle violations, more than the violent crime episode. But nonetheless, they are crimes that caused insurance rates to go up higher for those communities. They are crimes that, now there are grants out there, this is what I couldn't understand. The state of Illinois is giving grants to help post bail for these people that get arrested. But they're not giving grants to help advance security for businesses and security for police departments. Now that to me is a little bizarre. If you ask me, that should have been one of those 28 grants that was allowed by the state of Illinois for people that had welcome in undocumented workers. But it's not in that list. So I hope I helped you a little bit.
Well, I still have a couple more questions.
Okay.
The second question being, you proclaim to be a Christian, correct?
Yes.
So how do you, as a Christian, turn anybody away that needs help, whether they're from this country or not? Because if I recall correctly, this country was built upon immigrants. Everyone from here is not from here.
Yeah.
So you can't consciously, as a Christian, say that because they're from a different country coming into our country because they need help, that they're not good enough to receive that help.
Yeah, thank you for that very much.
Yes.
Because we have built 3 churches in Mexico. We own an orphanage in Kenya. We have sent missionaries to Nigeria and Russia. We started an underground church in China. So,
but what's that got to do with America?
That has a lot to do with America.
It has absolutely nothing to do with America.
Folks, I apologize. If we could, we need to refrain. If everyone could just make comments and refrain from questions as we move forward so that we can continue with our agenda.
All right. So my last thing is this. As a Christian, I am obliged to abide by the state, by the law of our country. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give to God what belongs to God. And so I am under obligation to obey the rule of law, both as a pastor and as a church in the state of Illinois. And I am also under obligation to make sure that I obey the rule of God according to the word of God. And so I have to balance both of those and walk in obedience to both. And so it's not that I don't have a heart for every single person. I absolutely do. But what I don't have a heart for is people who knowingly and willingly break the laws that our country has established.
We have people right here in our own country who break the laws every day.
Yeah, they're in our own country.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much, Pastor.
Yeah.
Gloria Bolden of Danville. Regarding moving other people to
I
Danville.
support you, Mayor, and I'm a Christian, and I have a choice to decide my opinion. And I don't want any more immigrants coming to Danville. My reason, I've been in Danville over 40 years, and it was nice. We have our mall closed. We have no theater in Danville, and jobs are closing. Why don't we get a grant to bring the theater back, bring the jobs and everything else back? I didn't come up here to say much, but I want to say I support you, and like the man said, I am proud that you stand up for us. And I was told that this grant was for to help the people, to give them jobs and give them homes. Take care of the people here first. Also, the Bible said, take care of your home first before you take care of somebody else. Amen. If you got us, Heidi.
Yes, ma'am.
I speak to you. If you got a problem in your household and someone else got a problem in your household, you gonna leave yours vacant to take care of somebody else?
No.
Okay, you take care of home first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Golden.
David Gerard of Danville regarding code enforcement.
Good evening. I was here a couple months ago, and she's got some handouts. Let me get this up right here. She's got some handouts that my wife and I have come up with. Maybe as a group and as a committee, we can get a solution to this problem. I was here a couple months ago and talked to you guys about the same problem, about me buying my property in Danville over 13 years ago. I pay tax on this property, and I keep it up real nice, and I keep it gravel, and I do business here in Danville. I own Bud's Barbecue. Owned it for 38 years, doing business right here in Danville. And so, make a long story short, I won't take a long time with this. Make a long story short, I talked to Mr. Butler, I talked to the mayor, I talked to Mr. Cooper, and now I got to go to court in 2 weeks to fight this. I'm gonna tell you right now, I have cancer. I will have the strength or the ability to fight cancer in the city of Danville. I don't have the strength to do that. And so my wife wrote some things that maybe we can get this ordinance resolved. If you own this property for 13 years, how they gonna come back and tell you can't park on it? After they sold it to me 13 years ago, and I've been using it for 13 years ago, and Ricky called me, we talked about it, he said, have somebody write something for you to try to get the thing amended. And that's what my wife did. I don't know if we did it right, but that's what we did. And then one more thing that I didn't really appreciate, and I think the council should know this, the guy that wrote the complaint against me was at my neighbor's house discussing my case with the neighbors. So I called him the next day and I talked to him. He said, well, I'm sorry. I said, I was very unprofessional. And he said, well, I'm sorry. I think this guy will be fired. I think y'all too. Why should he discuss my business, any city business with anybody else? Why? And so I'm hoping we can work as a committee and as a group to try to get this resolved and get it. I'm not asking for no special privilege. I'm asking to amend it, because when I bought it, that's like telling me I got type A blood, and then 13 years later, no, you can't use type A blood. So, but like I said, I don't have the strength to fight cancer in the city of Danville. I don't.
Thank you, Mr. Gerard.
Mr. Gerard? Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you came here 2 months ago.
Yes.
I believe at that meeting, I think the mayor said that he was going to talk to you and.
Yeah, he called me a couple weeks ago, and we talked. We've been playing phone tag. He been busy, I've been busy. We've been calling each other, but I thought like you said, you thought the problem was resolved.
Right.
I talked to Mr. Cooper. We thought the problem was resolved. Then I got a thing. I got to go to a cancer treatment next week. I got to cancel my treatment to go to a court proceeding. So I don't have, like I said, I don't have the strength to fight cancer and the city of Danville. I don't. And I can't afford to move something after 13 years of being in the same spot. I keep that property up clean. You've been by there, and you've been by there, and you've been by there. I keep it clean. I keep everything nice. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I pay my taxes like everybody else do. So why? Tell me why. I can drive around Danville on the weekend. I went around this weekend, Mr. Williams. I counted 43 vehicles in Danville parked in the driveway with company names on them. 43. And then another thing too, this inspector who wrote this complaint, he only wrote the complaint of 2 people in Danville, and guess who that was? Me and my brother. Tell me why is that so? And they all over Danville. It don't make no sense. If you buy property, if I know that 13 years ago, I wouldn't have bought the property.
I got questions.
Thank you.
I got questions. Stay there.
Yes, sir.
What's the problem here at this address?
613 Grant.
What's the problem?
He says that I have my food truck parked there. I own my mobile unit. I got my food truck parked there and my box truck. He says a commercial vehicle can't be parked there.
And it's been parked there for 13
years.
Yeah,
For 13 whole years.
a problem with that.
I got a big problem with that.
I have a question, which is,
Yes, Vice Mayor.
which ordinance is the violation which ordinance is supposedly being violated? What's the ordinance number?
It should be, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's likely listed in the property maintenance code, but to give you an exact chapter, I'm not sure. And
Okay,
Leon's not here tonight.
okay.
Yeah.
I was at the city clerk's office there. She was a big help. She looked up the ordinance for me, and we looked up some things. But I've been parked there for, like I say, 13 years. Never had a problem. The inspector used to come by once a year and say, he called me Bud. He said, Bud, you need to grade your lot and put more gravel down. So I graded, put more gravel down. This year I spent $1,200 grading the lot, put new gravel down. I do that about every 4 years. But I can't afford to move this stuff. I can't afford to pay to park someplace else. And I can't afford with my health to be arguing with these people and going back and forth to court and canceling appointments.
Now, that's why I thought that it was resolved, when you didn't have the gravel down and then the inspector told you that you
The
had
gravel
to have
been down there since January the 1st.
Yeah, right there, this year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
right
it graded
there.
every year.
So I thought that it was solved at that point.
Do you have your citation with you?
I got this in the mail.
Let me see that.
Alderman Teague, chapter 150.030 F1.
What's the property zoned for today, sir?
I'm sorry to hear you, sir.
Zoning on that
I
property.
can't, I'm hard to hear, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's the zoning on that property? Residential.
Okay, where I live at, I live on West Williams, across, right next on the side there, there's the old Curtis Matthews store on the west zone. It's a beauty shop across the street. And then I live at 711 West Williams, so I bought the lot behind my house 13 years ago from the city of Danville. And so that's where my truck been parked for 13 years. I've been doing business, come in at night, park my truck, then go and walk down, I didn't go home.
Do you actually do business on that location, or you just parking?
Business there.
It's parked on my vacant lot that I own, that me and my wife own.
Thank you, Mr.
It's been parked there for 13 years. Mr. Williams seen it, and we talked about it, but why can't this be amended? I mean, why can't, I'm not after those special privileges. If they'd have told me that 13 years ago, when I bought the lot, I wouldn't have bought it. But why wait for 13 years and tell me I gotta move it?
I agree 100% with what you just said.
Vice Mayor.
Could a possible resolution of this be to request rezoning of that lot?
I'm not 100%. Is this in the middle of a residential neighborhood?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of empty lots next to it.
A rezone would not be advised, a different methodology.
Or a special use or something for that
There would have
particular
to
lot?
be a complete ordinance rewrite to allow for something like that.
Mr. Gerard, so what we can do is, I don't, of course, as we talked, I don't ever want to interfere with your health. If you can have Mrs. Gerard send me your appointment time, so I can.
It's right there. She's got it right there.
I'm saying your treatment time, we can get you moved to a different court date.
Just like this. That week, I wear a chemo pump. I get the chemo pump on a Monday. I wear it all week long.
Yes, sir.
And I take it off that Friday, but the court date is that Thursday. I'm not going up there with no chemo pump on. If I be sick, I'm not doing that.
We will work on getting you a new court date so it does not interfere with your chemo, Mr. Gerard. And in the meantime, what I would say to the council is, I hear and understand that a lot of you don't like this, but what I can tell you is when you get complaints in your ward about somebody parking in their thing, and we change them and make them move because the neighbors have complained about it, the neighbors have not complained about it this year. As I talked to Mr. Gerard, his property looks good. The problem is we have an ordinance that we have to enforce, and you all have asked us to enforce this in other areas. So if we're enforcing it in other areas, our inspectors are trying, because it used to be if they didn't like this person, or you were in this side of town and they didn't like you, then you would get a fine, and the other people would be okay. What we're trying to do is enforce everything evenly across the city. Again, like I said, my own parents in the house that I grew up in just got a citation for the property that my aunt lives in and wasn't maintaining properly. So what I would say to you, Alderman, is that if you believe that we need to do something different, then we need to consider making a change to the ordinance as Mr. Gerard has corrected us. But that's not something that we can figure out right now in the crux of this meeting. But it is something that we have that we can definitely consider. And Alderman, if you have recommendations as to how you would like to see this changed, updated, or adjusted, please let myself and Corporation Counsel Mr. Parker know, and we will work on that for you. Because again, there's no possible way we're going to fix this right here in the middle of this meeting. So I will have him look into it. If you have suggested changes, we can consider all of those things, and we can take it to. I think it would probably go to one of our committees once we have it ready for consideration. Thanks, Mr. Gerard.
One more question. What I just about the guy discussing my business with my neighbors.
And as
that's very unprofessional. Would anything be done about that?
As I told to you when we had a conversation, yes, it is unprofessional, and that has been addressed with that person.
And what was the outcome?
I cannot discuss disciplinary matters of an employee with you publicly.
But I bet you've got a great location. Everything's up, taken care of, and everything else. I mean, I wish we get this resolved, because you've got competition on Gilbert Street that parks their big box truck right across the sidewalk, across from Garfield School. They park their other vehicles in Garfield School, and they've never been cited for anything. You know, I mean, I see other businesses up and down around my house with box trucks, trailers, everything else with their big advertising on it. And
Chairman,
it's getting more and more,
if we catch them, we cite them. The problem, as Mr. Gerard said, is
the thing is,
thank you, Mr. Gerard. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
The thing is, Mayor, is they park the vehicles there after 4 o'clock when the city's closed.
They do it on the weekends.
And my stuff is parked there all day. If you drive down there now, in my neighborhood, you can see 5 vehicles, commercial vehicles, backed in their yard. But I'm not gonna go around and write down and tell everybody that's not my job. That's not my job.
Yeah, I think
Thank
that's the
you, Mr.
whole
Gerard.
issue.
Thank you
is
very
that
much.
what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
That's exactly right.
Right. So
And then
everybody
only
that
person that
needs to
heard of me
buy-
and my brother. Why is that?
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Gerard.
So what will we talk about?
I hope somebody calls them and get this thing settled so he doesn't have to
There's,
go to court.
as I said to you, Alderman Cooper, what I need from you all as the legislators who are responsible for writing the laws, if there is a change in the law that you wish to see so that we can resolve this, then I need you to provide those solutions to myself and the Corporation Council so we can change the law. Because you cannot, we all swore an oath to uphold the law. You cannot just choose selectively what you ignore. And Mr. Gerard is not asking for that. He's not asking us for. He's not asking us for special. Yes, Mr. Gerard, I apologize, sir. Just a moment, if I may. He is not asking us for special treatment. He is asking us for a change in the resolution that would permit him to use the property as he wishes. And that's what I'm asking you. If you all have recommendations as to how we adjust this so that we can accommodate him, to please let me know. Mr. Gerard, thank you very much, sir. Not under the existing ordinance, no.
When was the ordinance changed?
It's been like this for
Apparently 13 years.
2008.
for 15 years, 16 years.
So now we're all of a sudden enforcing it on this guy? That's what I've got a problem with.
Mr. Cooper, as I've said, we are enforcing the law evenly on everyone, so I understand that you have a problem with it. If you have a problem with it, again, as a legislator, it's your job to write the laws. Please provide suggestions to myself and to the Corporation Council on how to fix it.
Pastor Alan Dixon Jr. of Danville.
God bless you. Appreciate being here. I just had a few things I want to cover. Kind of an honor to be here, and I really appreciate the work you've done, Mayor, and all the council. I've been very proud of Danville. I'm in ministry. I'm a pastor at Mason Temple Church, but I've been in ministry to Central America. Just got back from Cuba. Third world countries would love to have this setting. And the thing that grieves my heart to see the knick-knack can work together. You got something special. Work together with the knick-knack paddywhack stuff. Sometimes if you make your comments, it's not just to bettering of the country, of the city. It's to throw shy or throw light at somebody else opposing your views. So well, think about that. I had a team I coached years ago, and my two best players was at each other. I knew just a matter of time our team was going down. So I had to sit them two down and just talk about the problems we had and say, if you guys don't work together, we'll never be a team. Mayor, I thank God for the things you've accomplished here. I've been here since the mid-'60s and raised 11 kids, my late wife and I, and just to see the progress here under your watch, I mean, it's tremendous. One thing I'd like to see East Williams extended out a little bit more. That's my prayer. Amen. But other than that, council, the police department, crime going down. I have also ministered in the 40 years about every major city in the United States. And we don't go to the high level areas, we go to the drug addicts. And we go to the low level, the skid rows. And it's something. So be glad for what you got, work together. On immigration, give my little 2 cents. If we could accommodate them, I'm all for immigration. But Ohio, Springfield, Ohio needed immigrants to come in because they had jobs. We don't have that. So we don't have the accommodation to accommodate them. We shouldn't put that burden on ourselves. We have to think smart. Now, we had a factory here that needed 3,000 people to work at it. Yes, bring them in here so we can get them qualified and working. My last comment is toward Mayor Ricky Williams. He may not like this. Somebody call you boy, you're a strong man. Kick it out. Smile at him, laugh at him, keep on stepping. You're a strong man. So I don't want nobody to be getting upset in your position. I always talked about that. He's like, in a sense, sometimes like a son to me. But I'm gonna give you some advice and everybody here. The Bible in Proverbs 16:7. And a lot of people like to go on your intellect. Some of y'all knick-knack
Mr.
back
Dixon,
and forth.
I apologize. If you could just take a moment to wrap up your time.
I am. I'm closing out now. In my closing.
Yes, sir.
I'm closing.
Yes, sir.
Some of you go back and forth, but Proverbs 16:7 says, when a man's ways please the Lord, it'll make even his enemies to be at peace with him.
There you go.
Listen to what I'm saying here.
There you go.
So I think your ways are pleasing the Lord, so don't fight your own battle. Also, the scripture in St. Matthew 5th chapter says, bless them that curse you. City came at me a few years ago, and I'm wrapping up. I'll be done in 30 seconds. They came at me hard, and I asked the Lord, what do I do in this situation? I try to be upstanding, raise my family right. And he said, I want you to pray for every last one of them that came against you. So I had to do it. I had to, help me, Jesus. I had to pray for them. But things worked out. So I appreciate the police department, mayor. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them that despitefully use you. You're going to see things turn around for you. I think you've done an honorable job. Say with your little piece, and then let the Lord fight your battle. You're going to see a big change in the relationship. God bless you. Appreciate you.
Amy Lee of Danville regarding cannabis dispensary cap.
Hi, my name is Amy Lee, and I am in Danville 2 days a week, but I am actually from Oak Park. I am the Chief Operating Officer at 7 Point, and as I said, I'm here in Danville 2 days a week. We support the Zoning and Planning Department and the Danville Planning Commission's recommendation to cap dispensaries at 3 because Danville does not need additional dispensaries. There is not a need. There are very few new cannabis craft growers and infusers opening due to the lack of capital. Adding more dispensaries is not necessary to make the widest variety of cannabis products available to customers. There are a very limited number of new cannabis producers in Illinois. As of February 16th, 2024, there are only 10 newly licensed infusers, with 4 additional infusers with construction approval. Additionally, there were only 11 newly licensed craft growers with state operational approval at that time. Tilton has already capped at 1. If Danville caps dispensaries at 3, and if there are additional licensees in the future, IDF-PR would assign the licensee to an alternative BLS with an application submitted. Illinois, and I want to say that all of this information has been emailed directly to each of you. Illinois cannabis sales soared from January 2020 through mid-2021 and then plateaued. So that is for both in and out of state. Adding another dispensary would lead to oversaturation and failing businesses. We don't want to be another failed Danville business. Of the 3 dispensaries that will be in Danville, Sunnyside, the future New Era, and 7 Point will be the most vulnerable and at risk. This is due to the heavy financial resources and vertical integration structure of both Sunnyside and future New Era, owning grow facilities and dispensaries. Adding more dispensaries would exacerbate this unique vulnerability that we have. We love that Danville is very business friendly, but oversaturation would certainly lead to failing businesses. And if there were a 4th, then there would really only be 3, because we would really need to struggle to stay alive if we would even be able to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
Deontay Brooks of Danville regarding the DACC situation.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Deontay Brooks. Just full disclosure, I voted for the mayor. I like him. He all right guy. But the situation with Dr. Nacko brought up immigration, and I'm glad it did. It gives Danville a chance to look at its soul, who we are, and who we're going to be. I do a lot of research. The birth rate here for Danville is 0.9. That means 0.9 people are born for every 1,000. Around 8 people die per 1,000. So that's a problem. Our birth rate is not keeping up with the death rate. We have outgration. People graduate, they leave. They get better jobs, they leave. So our population is shrinking. Our graduation rate is not so great here in the city of Danville. So the people who are staying aren't qualified for some of the jobs we have. There's plenty of jobs here, plenty of them. Just ain't got people to work them. So if we can bring the right skilled immigrants here, we can attract new business. That's how it works. We get skilled workers. As a business, I see this town has skilled workers. I move my business there. I see they have educated workers. I build my business there. And when it comes to crime and immigrants, if we brought white people here, be more white crime. More black people, there'd be more black crime. Crime goes up with more people. That's just how it works. But if you give people a good jobs, education, and homes, we know that crime goes down. And that's universal. So if we can do those things and we can welcome people and get them here and get them documented. If we think they're rapists, let's get them here, put them on paper so we know who we have here. Because I'm telling you, they're here. They're coming and there ain't no stopping it. So the best thing we can do is be prepared as a community and welcome the people that we get here and get them educated and show them who Danville is. I came here 3 years ago with almost nothing, rebuilt my life in this community. So this place is special to me and it's special to my wife. And I think it can be that place for many, many more people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, we have before you item 8A, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance for petitioner Donato Solar at Vermillion LLC for the special use permit number 265 for property 3811 North Vermillion Street to allow for drive-up self-storage facility. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
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 It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
Just a question. So this is B2.
Yes.
What does B2 allow?
Everything.
Pretty much anything?
Just consider it as highway commercial. As the developer spoke this evening, it's gas station, convenience stores, grocery stores, oil change, car sales, high traffic business.
Which would not require special use, right?
Correct.
And they're asking for a special use and that's it?
They are.
And I suppose you are demoing this building and taking away eyesore in this town, in my opinion, so I fully support this.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion carries. Item 8B is an ordinance amending Danville City Code, Chapter 150, the zoning code regarding medicinal and adult use cannabis, zoning petition number 299. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Mrs. Pickering.
Yes, this is some of the information that we received about the cities with caps on cannabis dispensaries. It's the cities, the populations, and the caps. Buffalo Grove had 42,569 population with a cap of 2. Park Ridge had 38,278 with a cap of 2. St. Charles has 71,184 with a cap of 2. Bloomington had 78,864 with a cap of 2. Danville has 28,472 without a cap. According to this list, Danville has more cannabis dispensaries with the least amount of population. We have limited other businesses in Danville through license caps. We are doing this now when we limit our liquor license. I feel this is something we need to do with our special use permits for cannabis dispensaries. We soon will have 3 cannabis dispensaries in Danville, and I feel that this is where we need to cap it at 3. Therefore, I will be voting yes on this amendment.
Thank you, Mrs. Pickering. Any further? Chairman Poor.
Thank you, Mayor. This has always confused me, is why do we still have medicinal adult use cannabis in our, since there are no more medicinal licenses?
Correct. That is how the original ordinance was written. It was never redacted from the current. I believe that's the case because it may come back in the future.
Because that's how it was sold to us originally, is that it would be a
Correct.
medicinal.
Like 12 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, medicinal use is why Sunnyside came here, and that's why we voted, let's have dispensaries.
Yeah, it's one of those things that there's no harm in it being there because we don't use it, but it may come back so we don't have to double the work.
Okay, well, that answers that one. Okay, and I too agree with the limiting. I said that when we voted on the last one, that the market was saturated, that there's only X number of dollars out there, there's only X number of people that will be utilizing the facilities, and if it hadn't been for the proposed truck stop maybe happening on the one across the interstate, I would have voted no on that one. But I think 3 is a good number. That gives us, on paper, 75% of the pie, and Tilton 25% of the pie. Tilton still has a hands up on itself. Tilton allows consumption lounges. So, I mean, for us to be on an even playing field, I think down the road we need to consider consumption in these facilities. I know that's a totally different ordinance, have to go back to zoning, but, I think that's something that would put us on a more even playing field with Molly's joint in Tilton. But I will be supporting limiting it to 3.
Yes, Mr. Cooper.
I support it also, but isn't there a liability issue we're trying to eliminate also?
I believe that the birth of this drafting of this ordinance comes from a plethora of reasons, but the main reason is we've tried allowing for more dispensaries, more licenses throughout the city of Danville. That ordinance was declined. So now it's time to open it up on the other end. Does the city council want to consider limiting it now? From prior approvals and denials by the city of Danville, that's the reason this ordinance was drafted. Just the discussion, if you go back to the minutes, I think it's time for at least the discussion. We have one denied dispensary and then one approved after that. So that after all of that discussion, that is why this ordinance was drafted.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Yes, Alderman O'Kane.
I got one quick question. What are these social equity licenses? What is the difference between that and the first license that we had? And does the state have more say-so about us controlling those? I don't think that was brought into this discussion at all.
So the first one was not a special equity license. The others were. There were a number of owners who sued the state government after the initial license were offered because there was inequity, because they thought it was unfair, because there were certain populations of people who didn't really have an opportunity to get a license. So they opened it back up, got a more diverse group of folks who applied, and then they awarded more of them. Ultimately, the state has the authority to say how many they're willing to allow wherever they want to. We can decide how many we wish to have in our community. And I think what I hear from you all is that you want to limit the number that we do have.
Okay, so if we put a limit on it, can it go to Bismarck or Oakwood or?
If the state awarded another license for this area,
Well,
yes,
there's one available, right?
Yes, they could. So they could go to another area. That is correct.
And
The problem we have, I think, Alderman O'Kane, though, is that because we brought an ordinance to allow dispensaries to go other places throughout town, that failed. Unfortunately, in my opinion, but it failed. So that means they can only go out there in the Lynch Road corridor. So if we allow more, you're literally going to be putting basically four shops on the same corner. It'd be like if we had a Walgreens, CVS, and all these on the same corner. And I think that's what they're talking about, and that's why I support.
And that's a problem that, I don't want another one. I don't think we need another one, but I hate to dictate, and this is a business now. I hate to dictate that we're limiting business just because it could be harmful to another business. We're not going to do that for grocery stores. We're not going to do that for liquor stores. We're not going to do that for any other business. I just hate to start a precedent of doing something like that.
We actually do that for liquor stores. I mean, we have a waiting list for packaged liquor stores that goes back from when I think I was still in college. Folks that are wanting to have a packaged liquor store, we do that with our gaming licenses as well. But your point is well taken about the market and competition, and again, that's why it's up to you all to decide on this. Vice Chairman.
What you had said a minute ago is my thinking on it is that if we had allowed more of these stores to be elsewhere in the city, then I don't think there'd be any reason why we should stop a business. But we've already limited the ability and where they can be. We say they can only be in a certain area. And since we've already said that's the limitations, then I don't think it'd be right for us to allow more and more and crush the competition in a little bitty area. Again, if we had opened it up, fine. But since we're saying people can only go to a certain place, we're already restricting it. Now we're just getting to the point where you can only do so many in a certain area.
Well, to me, that's like saying that Home Depot can't come to Danville because we got a Lowe's and a Menards.
If they were in the same block, though?
Well, they could be, I would guess they'd be in the north end of town where the other businesses are. It just,
but we
you know,
don't
I'm not
restrict
for
them.
I'm not for another dispensary. It's just, this is a secondary question that I think we're putting our fingers in a fire that we shouldn't be.
I understand your point. No, ma'am.
Well, I think
No.
if we said,
I'm sorry, it's the time for audience participation. Miss Pat was at the beginning of the meeting.
if we told grocery stores you can only open along Lynch Road, then after the third one, I think maybe we would want to put a restriction on it because we're going to kill the other ones. Since we've already told them you can only be in a certain place, I don't think we can let a lot more of them grow out there.
Vice Mayor Teague.
I want to address just the factual information as it relates to the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. So, according to the CRTA, so part of what the mayor said was factually accurate. I want to correct some details. The first dispensary that we got was issued. It is a major corporation. They're all over the United States, wherever their dispensaries are. And yes, it was originally brought in because they were told they wanted to be medicinal. We allow for medicinal. The state did not give them a medicinal license. There are not very many medicinal licenses in this state. The number of medicinal licenses are less than the number of counties. So they have no control over the fact that they don't have a medicinal license, first and foremost, nor does any of the other dispensaries. Second, when the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act was written, it created a license type for social equity for people who were hardest hit by the war on drugs. There are lots of different requirements that had to be met in order to qualify for a social equity license. So now, after this, and originally, we were only supposed to get one in social equity. So then lawsuits happened after that. The lawsuits created additional licenses, and the licenses were assigned to BLS regions. Danville is its own BLS meaning Bureau of Labor Statistics. Danville is its own BLS region. So what was originally one license, and this happened in all of the regions, there was a multiplier applied to every region as a result of the lawsuits. So what started out as one grew, which is why we have additional dispensaries coming to our region, because every region throughout the state, all the number of licenses grew as a result of lawsuits. So now we have the potential for a fourth license to come to our BLS region, because technically the Tilton area is still part of the Danville BLS region. So to answer your question, Alderman O'Kane, this license that could potentially come here would still come to our region. It just, if we do this, it just won't be in the city of Danville. Right. Now, what that means that there could be two or one or whatever, I don't know what the cap is in Tilton. So if they capped it at one, they'd go someplace else and not be Tilton and not be Danville. If Tilton is capped at two, then there could be two in Tilton and three in Danville. But where we are is whether or not we want it in the city of Danville. The BLS region thing is a thing that comes from the state that has nothing whatsoever to do with us. So the only real question is, do we as a city want to cap what happens in Danville? Everything else is between the proprietor and the state of Illinois, specifically because dispensaries are licensed by IDFPR, the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. The same people who license doctors and nurses and barbers and everyone else that has to have a license to work in their industry. I have feelings very similar to Alderman O'Kane's, which is if our reasoning for not wanting to do this is because we might kill business, to me that makes no sense in the United States of America, because we are a capitalist society. We got 4 coffee shops right by each other. I drove to one and noticed that a couple of them have lines all the time and a couple of them don't, not really. And if they fail, then somebody made a bad business decision by deciding to locate where they located. That's not up for us to regulate. Right. The free market society does that. That's economics 101. We are not in the governance of other people's business. We are in the governance of the city. So if you want to cap it, and I respect everybody's opinion and their right to vote however they see fit. But if you want to cap it, then saying that it's because we're trying to make sure that we allow for one business to continue to succeed while we, or we might kill a business, we should cap everything then. But that's not how the United States of America or capitalist society works. If you want to cap it, it should be for another reason. And I respect the reason. But that's contrary to what we are elected to do. So I just wanted to put that piece out there to let's provide real reasoning for, I don't want to say it's illegitimate reasons, but real reasoning for why we're doing this, because it's not our job to protect specific types of businesses in the city of Danville.
Yes, so I thank you, Ms. Tigg, for that comment. So we're gonna ride this horse all night long. We're gonna have 3 here. If one leave, another one could come, but we'll still have 3. And so I just entertain a motion that we take it to a vote.
Mr. Butler has called for the question.
Yeah, call for the question.
All right. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
I have a question, hold on.
Yeah.
So, yes is we're supporting the ordinance, no is we're declining the ordinance, correct?
Yes is you're supporting it to limit it to 3.
Right.
No is you oppose that. That's correct.
Mayor, again, no is a what? No is a no.
Yes, if you vote yes, then you're voting to limit it to 3 dispensaries. If you vote no, then you're voting to not limit the number of dispensaries.
And you're agreeing with the zoning commission that recommend limiting it, if you vote yes.
Alderman Iverson?
I was convinced until I heard the vice mayor. She has some legitimate points. I don't know that we should be restricting something just because we think they would fail. It's probably none of our business. No.
Poor?
Well, no, I have to make a comment too. We restricted their business already by not allowing them to locate where they wanted to locate, by forcing them all to go to Lynch Road. So, I will be voting yes to limit it to 3.
Streebing?
No.
Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
I'll also make a comment since that's precedent already and say that the mayor made a comment that said, well, if you put Walgreens and CVS by each other, where actually in many industries, that's exactly what they do. Burger King is always down the street from McDonald's. Walgreens is always across the street from CVS because that's what happens in a free market society. So, no.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
I won't make a comment, yes.
Cooper?
No.
Butler?
My comment as well is that we got 3 or 4 car washes in the same areas. They all getting business.
Yeah.
One might fail and go. So I vote yes.
Wilson?
No.
Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
No.
8 yes.
8 yes, the motion carries. I will ask that you not engage in comments at such time we are to vote, you are to be voting. If there are comments, please offer those beforehand so that we can be expeditious, as Mr. Butler has requested.
Just follow Bill Black.
Yes, I understand. Very good. Item 8C is an ordinance amending Danville City Code, Chapter 150 zoning code for temporary sign zoning petition number 300. Is there a motion to concur with the recommendation and approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate?
I got a question.
Yes, Alderman O'Kane.
Is this just downtown?
Yes.
Yes.
And they put it out and they gotta put it back every night.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Cooper.
That halfway answered my question. What is the reasoning for this?
Yeah, we were approached by a representative of many commenting downtown business and property owners. It's been enforced that no signs are to be placed. That's how the signage ordinance reads on city right-of-way, and it's been enforced. And we want to make sure that we are being business friendly. So we had an internal staff discussion, revised the ordinance to allow for TP signs, which is just the A-frame signs. That's what the downtown business owners want to use. So that's what's being proposed here.
Yeah, I've seen them, so that's the reason
Yeah.
for this ordinance. Okay.
Correct.
Matt, yes, Vice Mayor.
So only the TP signs, no flag signs, or
So they can have flag signs. There's the limitations on size and height still remain in the ordinance. Yeah.
Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Chairman Poor,
Yes.
Chairman Streebing,
Yes.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion carries. Item 9 is the approval of the payrolls. You have before you the payrolls of September 6th and 13th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Chairman Streebing,
Yes.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion is carried. You also have before you the vouchers payable of September 10th and 17th, as well as a special run from September 6th. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
I was looking to make sure something wasn't on here before I voted. Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we will receive our Public Services Committee report. Chairman Streebing.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think I'm awake. 11A, and we're going to take 11A and 11B together. We have two resolutions. Resolution 11A is authorizing an agreement for provision of electricity for city-owned buildings and facilities, and 11B is a resolution authorizing an agreement for provision of electricity for city-owned streetlights. I will make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I will need a second. Second.
Is there any questions at this time on this ordinance?
Chairman, we do have Representative McMorris here, if anyone does have questions. The good news is this would lower the cost for us. And just as a reminder, Chairman, this is only for city-owned buildings and streetlights. This does not impact the public in any way.
No PowerPoint?
No PowerPoint? Come on.
We've been waiting since last week.
I was really hoping to get you moved up and if you had something to say early, but I'm sorry.
Vice Chairman.
We can get him up now, 'cause I have a question. This is, as the mayor said, this is only for the city-owned lights. This is not for the residents who get an amalgamation
Correct.
Every year, too, they can choose. Now, as I was reading through your document, would you do a different company at different times? It looked like you had approved 2 different companies depending on the situation. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct. Depending upon the term length that the council selects, you could potentially have Direct Energy winning one bid and Homefield winning a different one. Across the board, Direct Energy won your streetlights bid for all 4 term lengths. In the municipal-owned buildings, Direct Energy won the 1 and the 2-year term, whereas Homefield won the 3 and the 4-year term length. And that's why we open it up to about 8 different businesses, but for these, for our terms, we just included the top 4 suppliers in this competitive bid.
I know those changed. In fact, you couldn't come to Public Works because all the numbers aren't in yet. Could that change then from what we now look, or when you say Homefield has it, are they locked into that rate
No.
for certain?
No.
It's
So,
not that kind of society, yeah.
Yep, and so I think that the proposals that you have were most updated, at least in your packet, by Thursday. Every single day, the market changes. So my recommendation to you, and it's nominal, so if you look at your packet and we're just looking at, say, the 3-year term on the municipal accounts, it's still Homefield is the winner, but the price has gone down from Thursday to today's refreshed pricing. So today's 36-month term price is 7,828. And I believe it was 7,868, so 0.04 of a penny. Now that's just where the market moves up and down every single day, just like the stock market.
So that would be what you do, is to keep an eye on those and try to regulate as much as you can?
We request.
Authorize me tomorrow, I would go and whatever is the best, sign that for us.
Correct. So my wishes is that you would never select a company or a rate, that you would always select the winning supplier's 36-month or 24-month term length, because we're going to open it up tomorrow or on the day that Mayor Williams is available to sign, and that's what will be the rate for that day.
The good news is all of these rates are substantially cheaper than what we pay now.
Correct. In most cases, in both cases, it's over a penny for the streetlights and a penny for the municipal building. So actually, it's 3 cents lower on the municipal buildings. So it's and that's your largest account. So that represents, over the term that the mayor and I discussed, somewhere around $90,000 savings versus the last contract over a potential 3-year term.
Mike, you have something?
Yeah, so we're trending for a longer term, ideally?
Yes.
Because I think a bunch of years ago, we took a shorter term because we were afraid of what was going to happen.
Correct.
And then,
Last time we took a shorter term and it actually worked out for us, because now we're getting a better deal than we would still be locked in at that higher rate.
Right.
So that's why we work so close with our advisors, because they can tell us, like, hey, help us get the best deal for the community, because ultimately, although we're paying this bill, it's the taxpayer money. So if we can save them money, that's a great thing.
okay, and then a side question, that, are all the streetlights in the city of Danville's, or?
No, there are some.
And if they're on the street?
No, there are some that are the state of Illinois, depending upon state routes. There are others that no, they're not all ours.
That's hard to figure out that.
We have maps, but they don't make, they're not such that you can give trends or say, okay, everything on this street is, maybe some of our small side streets are all ours, but a lot of the others, there's a mix, especially Vermillion, Maine, Fairchild,
State
Gilbert.
routes and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, that's
okay.
right. Yes, Vice Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So the period will be chosen at the time of signing, or? Because it says between 12 and 36, and the price is different for 12 than it is for 24 than it is for 36. So we're just saying, okay, we provide latitude for the mayor to make a choice at the time, on the day of the rate, to choose whichever is the best on that day? Or I'm trying to understand, I'm just reading what the resolution says.
If I may.
Yes.
It's always been my recommendation that council gives the mayor authorization for a specific term length now. So you would essentially select 36, 24, et cetera. And then that day, tomorrow, potentially, if mayor's available, we would then refresh prices. If the prices, all of a sudden, we hit some sort of issue and the numbers don't look good, then we can hold off a week or 2 weeks and see if the market comes back down to a reasonable level, or at least a level that he approves. Now, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of a penny between one day and the other, unless we have a polar vortex or an invasion of Ukraine. So my recommendation is at minimum 24. Obviously, the max is 48. I think the sweet spot is 36. I made the recommendation of 24 2 years ago, and that is what you did, and that's what's now getting you the lower prices in the 7-cent range, as opposed to where we were 2 years ago in the 10s.
What you said makes complete sense. It does not match what the resolution says. The resolution says, the council supports the city entering into an electric service supply agreement for city-owned buildings and facilities if it is found to be in the best interest of the city for a period between 12 and 36 months. So that doesn't give the decision to us based on how it's written. It gives the decision to the mayor. So that's why I'm asking the question, what are we actually approving?
Because we don't.
If he's saying he recommended 24 months, then it should say 24 months. And then we would approve 24 months, and then you would execute 24 months.
Today he recommended 36 months. The problem is until we have the rates to bring before you, we don't know what they are. So what I would recommend is that you approve a 36-month contract, an amendment.
So then the resolution would need to be amended before we voted. So it would say 36 months.
Someone would need to make an amendment.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're correct. Thank you.
You want us to make that amendment tonight?
Yes, sir. That way we can assume that we can go on the rate as soon as possible.
Yeah, both of these contracts expire in November.
I would entertain an amendment to authorize me for a 36-month.
Up to 36 months.
No, for a 36-month, or to choose the 36-month, the best 36-month rate. Is there a motion to do so?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion on the amendment? This would authorize me to choose the best 36-month rate. If you vote yes, that will allow me to. If you vote no, we would go back to the drawing board. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Just on the amendment.
Just on
On the amendment,
Just
that's
on the
correct.
amendment.
Okay, sir.
Alderman Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Thor?
Yes.
Streebing?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you, the motion carries. Puts us back to the 11A and B resolutions. Is there anything else open for discussion on either one of these? Nobody has any more questions? Roll call, please, on both 11A and 11B.
Vice Mayor Teague?
Yes.
Alderman Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Thor?
Yes.
Streebing?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you very much. Puts us to 11C, Treasurer's Report, and our Treasurer, Chris Herron.
Thank you, Chairman. Hopefully, this gives you some excitement.
Yes.
You've been waiting for quite many years.
Yes.
So my Treasurer's Report, good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'd like to start my monthly report with a recap of where we are with bank reconciliation today. Back when I took office in May of 2023, Mayor Williams and Comptroller Massey communicated with me the lack of bank reconciliation dating back to 2021, and even as far back as 2017, not being reconciled to the new city software. They informed me of the seriousness of the problem and encouraged me to make an extremely high priority in the office. At that time, Comptroller Massey and her finance team were taking on the responsibility themselves for trying to catch up with the reconciliation of all of our accounts to the software on top of all their other duties. By law, we must have the duty segregated from finance to the treasurer's office. Check and balance being the reason behind that. We have gotten dings against us on our audits for this not being segregated. But at that time, the comptroller's office had no choice but to step in. In October of 2023, council approved Martin Hood Accounting Firm to come in and assist in getting all these accounts reconciled to current and to our bank statement and software. We've been reporting monthly the progress that has been accomplished through our bank reconciliation status tracking report, which you have there. This tracker represents step one of our bank reconciliation process. In our software, we have a bank rec module. We input all the data in, and that gets reconciled against the bank statement, which is basically 4,000 to 5,000 entries a month. This shows us that all the money coming in and out of our accounts are accounted for. Step two of the process can be even more complicated. The bank rec module needs to match all the data that's plugged into the general ledger from the different sources throughout the city. Example, from finance and from public works and from other departments in the city, they will input data into the general ledger, but mistakes can be made with that. We've all asked the question why these two pieces of the software do not speak to each other throughout the month to eliminate confusion and errors. It's just the way the software is done. And we're looking actually at maybe changing that in the future. So as the data is being inputted through the month of the general ledger, lots of different human errors can happen. The result will be a variance between the general ledger and the bank reconciliation module because transactions being recorded may be categorized incorrectly. Again, all the money is accounted for, but line items in the general ledger will be off. So if we look at this bank reconciliation tracking report, everything that you see that's green and posted is step one. That goes to step one of creating the bank reconciliation module piece of it, and then it goes to step two, and it correlates with our general ledger. That's why it's posted. Where you see down on the bottom of the first page where the general fund has an open account in May of 23, the bank module has been reconciled, so we know the money is accounted for, the funds are accounted for going in and out. However, there's a variance for what the general ledger speaks to. Now this happened at every single one of these months, so it just so happens that's where we're stuck at right now, and that's the one we're working on. We want all these pieces to match. This is where a good portion of the time is taken, going back to each transaction and first identifying the problem and then putting it in the correct category of the general ledger. Example, this could be solving one problem with 10 transactions for something that's not in the right piece of the general ledger for $25,000, or it could be 25 transactions to make up that $25,000. So it's very specific on trying to match all this stuff to get it to the right spot in the general ledger. Although the money's there, it might have been categorized incorrectly. So now we're trying to figure out where it is and how to get it back to where it needs to go. So that's where we're at with May of 23. Our Martin Hood representative and our team at the city Finance and Treasurer's Office have not been able to find the variance for July of 23. Martin Hood is sending over this Friday a supervisor that is a certified CPA to assist us in moving forward. So you can only imagine the complexity of this. If our team Martin Hood's specialist that they brought in, that we hired, and now she can't figure it out, so she's bringing in a certified CPA to figure it out. So we're trying. There are variances every month due to errors and differences between when activity hits the journal ledger versus when it hits our bank accounts, especially at the beginning and end of each month. Adjustments are then made. Some variances are minor and need more attention, and some need less attention, and some are more major and needs more attention. The entire process is extremely time-consuming, tedious, and needs attention to detail. We're all coming up with possible solutions to help with this process going forward and keeping this up to date monthly and more efficiently soon. I'd like to recognize past Comptroller Ashlyn Massey, Kristen Landis, and the entire finance team, current Comptroller Alyssa Sweeten, Denise Arns, and the entire finance team, Martin Hood, and my assistant Amy. All these individuals and teams have put in a tremendous amount of effort to get us to this point. I'd also like to thank the mayor and this council for investing the resources needed to clean up this situation before the consequences are too great. We're not out of the woods yet. There's still work to be done, but I know all parties above are fully on board to see this through to completion and moving ahead stronger than before. I'd like to now give you a financial report for May of 2023 fiscal year 24. All the above steps have been taken and this report is complete to the best of my knowledge. This is the first financial report that I'm aware of since October of 21. I appreciate the help of my assistant Amy, Comptroller Sweeten, and Deputy Comptroller Landis for overseeing me put this together. We didn't have an accurate example to go by since we are now reconciling to the software and to the bank statements. Please give me feedback if you'd like to see something different moving forward. My intention is to continue giving these financial reports for multiple months, monthly, until we're caught up. I'd like to explain this report so the contents are understood, and then moving forward, they will be a part of the agenda like they are this evening, but without a hard copy in front of you and a thorough explanation unless you need one, unless one is requested. And then next, we can decide if you'd like to accept this report and place it on file. Thankfully, Alderman Pickering called me this morning and made me aware of my first mistake on the first page of my first financial report. Hope that doesn't take away your confidence.
Good going, girl. Good going.
Chairman, would you entertain a motion to approve? Make a motion to approve.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve this treasurer's report.
Excuse me, Mayor, that's not on the agenda.
Oh, the
We can
approval's not on
put it on
I
there for the
apologize.
next
It's just a-
meeting.
It's just a presentation. That's
Just a
right. I
presentation.
apologize. See, I was ready to have your back. Treasurer.
Appreciate it.
Well,
I'd like to explain it a little bit so that in the future, I'm not up here explaining the next 16 or how many ever to get us caught up. So this first page is just a summary page. And this is what I think most people are going to be interested in. And again, please, if you'd like to see something different, I'm not going to be offended at all. I didn't know where to start. I just started somewhere. So at the top of this, you're going to see the Iroquois Federal Savings and Loan. This is our money market account, which has $8.5 million in it. And you're going to see the May interest there in red for $3,500 for a total of, this is where my mistake was, this should be $8,500,563.02. So we missed a zero there.
Yeah.
All the sheets behind this summary page are going to go in correlation to this summary page. If we go down a little bit more, the majority of our money is at First Financial Bank. And so we have many accounts at First Financial Bank that all have to be reconciled also that you see on that tracker report. First, with our general fund, this includes deposits from the global payments, which is our utilities. This has been a big thing when we took over doing utility billing. And now this all runs into our general fund. So you're going to see in the pages behind this, you're going to see the Iroquois statement, then you're going to see our general fund statement, and you're going to see these global payment utilities. That's all encompassed in the general fund. Next, you're going to see the ARPA account, the CDBG, the payroll, and so on. Then towards the bottom of this summary page, you're going to see the other accounts. We have petty cash. Treasurer's office has $505. Harrison Park has $400. Later, you're going to see some more petty cash coming to the pool, but not in this. This is May of 23. Then we see the Old National Bank account. This is where all Tyler cashiering payments are made, which is merchant services. So this is everything that's not utilities, legal things, garbage, dumpsters, things like that. All that money is going to go in, at that time, went into Old National Bank. We have our Illinois Fund Savings Account. I swipe money out of there at the 15th of every month, and so that number should always be zero by the time I give this report, because I will have already had the money swiped out of there and put into our general account. All of these accounts total $69,701,000, $69,700,000 as of May of 23. So again, if you keep that summary page out, we can just go through these next pages pretty quickly. We have the Iroquois federal statement, which reconciles against what this summary page says. We go into our general fund, and you're going to see that right past the general fund statement, we have a bank account reconciliation report, and at the bottom of that, you're going to see the difference is zero. So this reconciled this month against the bank statement and in our software, and the difference was zero. A small caveat here, the reason why our general statement, our general says $39 million, and our statement here, ending balance 39 million, and it's a little bit different, is because this includes our Old National Bank statement. The two have to be done together. That's why that number reconciles together, but it's the addition of the general and the Old National Bank together makes up that total on this bank account reconciliation report. We don't have that Old National Bank account anymore. We've moved it to the general fund. So in future months, we're not going to see it like that, but right now, that's why you see it like that. So I hope that makes halfway sense. Any questions? Everybody with me so far there?
And the reason why that is because our treasurer was able to get us a much superior interest rate, which is bringing in tons of additional revenue for the community, which will allow us to do many more things for our people in the long run. So thank you, treasurer. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, so following that is this global payment statement, which is part of that general account. Now it gets much easier. The following statements are simply right in line. The ARPA statement of $24 million, and there's your bank account reconciliation report, the same amount of money, the difference is zero. All the way through, all the different statements. We get down to the Old National Bank account, and you'll see that this number correlates with the summary page. Again, this account no longer exists, but back in 23 it did. Then you have your merchant billing statement, which is in that Old National Bank account. All those numbers coordinate together. Then our last statement is our Illinois funds. And you'll see that at this month, how much was in there. We withdrew it, brought it into the general fund, and that's why we're at zero. Then these last two pages are what's called a statement of cash position. This is in our software. And what this shows are all the funds within the general fund and what the cash position is of all those funds. These numbers are going to be consistent. They're going to be off a little though, because again, this is going straight with the general ledger, and there's going to be numbers on here because it's the beginning of the month or the end of the month that are not going to hit this account at the same time it's going to hit the bank account. I hope that's easy enough to understand. Please, questions?
Vice Mayor.
My one question is just a little bit more. I want to make sure I understand why the difference of the statement of cash position versus the report. Is it because of like outstanding transactions?
Yes.
Okay.
Outstanding transactions, and I guess maybe the accounting word is variances on them. And again, every month there is some threshold of how much can be.
Various percentage.
Yes, exactly.
So it would then be normal if we were to sit down and go through the statement of cash position and look at it against your report, it would be normal and expected for us to see the statement of cash position appear to be larger than what is in your report because of possible outstanding transactions. We've written checks that haven't cleared yet. So for example, when I look at the general fund subtotal and it says 9.8 million, but the report says 8 million, that means we could possibly have $1 million in outstanding checks.
Okay, I understand where you're coming with that. I think we're on the same page, but I think that because this is the question that should be asked. You're exactly right. Now, we've talked over this, Comptroller Sweeten and I have talked over this, and I might be explaining this incorrectly, but in my position, on that summary page, we have $69 million. And so you see that on the bottom of the summary page is $69 million. So this is what we have accounted for through the bank statement into our bank rec module. So that is the true number. So this is the number that's most likely going to be higher than the statement of cash position because this is the general ledger number. So this is a number that things haven't gotten to yet because maybe it's at the end of the month. It hasn't hit our general ledger yet, but it did hit the bank statement.
Okay.
You would have the risk of it going both ways because you would also have deposits in transit.
Right.
Can you repeat that?
You would have deposits that have made it to the bank but haven't made it to the bank statement that we've accounted for on the general ledger, just as much as we would have expenses where we've cut the check but it maybe hasn't cleared the bank. So it could vary either way, but it would clear at the beginning of the next month.
Right, because to the point that Treasurer Herron just made, if you actually go to this, because when he said that, I'm like, well, let me go to the last page. And the last page says 66 million and not 68 million. But the general fund was bigger.
Right.
So it's variance either way, and it just depends on the fund and whether the fund is spending more than it's taking in or taking in more than it's spending.
Correct.
And it just highlights the purpose and the importance of the reconciliation.
Absolutely.
I do feel it's important. One of my goals was to make this as easily read as possible. We did the same thing for the fire and police pension reports, to have a summary page. And again, we didn't have a lot to go by. We did on those reports, but not on this. But I would love it if it's not that way, to please let me know. And I'd be more than happy to put any information you'd like in there or take information away. But I think this would be fairly easy going forward, and we can catch up on these reports pretty quickly here within the next months to get us back to where we are and then keep moving forward.
Well, number one, I'm glad to see you got a pattern in front of you. We've got something we haven't seen for a few years, believe me. We got a quick report, and a lot of times it wasn't right, and you find that out 2 or 3 months later. So I'm very happy for everything you and the finance department, everybody has done. Matter of fact, I want you, Mayor, to put this so that we can go ahead and put this on public services for next week, and we can go ahead and get it moved so we can approve this. This will give us plenty of time that we can all look at it. Make anything that you don't like, let him know. Anything you want to see changed, please get a hold of him so we can change it. Maybe he can't change something, and he'll explain that to you too. So all he wants to do is make this so we can look at it and be clear, and we can get a monthly report. So.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have to stand up here and give you a hard copy either, so it should make it fairly simple and quick.
Well, I'm always going to want a hard copy.
Okay, no problem.
I'm sorry.
That's great, I love it.
I pushed,
Digital.
I pushed this card all the way to get here, so.
You can have it. I'll even give you a binder clip.
Okay, thanks. Does anybody else have any questions for our treasurer? Yes.
I don't have a question, just a recommendation in that I think that it should always come up at public services, that the cadence should always be public services, and that way we can see this as well as the other reports. In corporate, it's called budget versus actual. So,
yes.
Yeah. So then that way we can see the two things together.
Well, I agree, that sounds good, but I'm glad that he brought something to us tonight,
Absolutely.
full council, because we've been without this for so long.
Absolutely.
So.
I'm sorry, can you explain that exactly again?
It's a report that we used to get from Comptroller Massey, that we are only getting it via email. And the email stopped in February. I don't have any rhyme or reason. By the time I noticed it, Comptroller Massey had already gone. So last public services meeting, I asked Comptroller Sweeney about it, and she said that she would start to do those reports again, and that they would be coming to public services, which then allows us to see all of our funds. We make budget changes all of the time, but we don't actually see the physical numbers change because we're only looking at resolutions. So it's really about seeing where the budget numbers are, and then we're seeing how much cash we have. Those two things go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And so since the comptroller already is coming to public services, it would make sense then for this report to also always come through public services, so then you can see the two things together.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, you would like this report at public services, not at the council meeting?
Well, if it comes through public services, then it goes to full council anyway.
It comes to full council anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But deliver it to public service first?
Please.
Okay,
please.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
And then also, we're also separating treasurers versus finance as well. We're taking care of some of that now.
Yep.
By
Okay.
doing it that way. We have what's over here and what's over here. We can look.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Treasurer. Appreciate
y'all.
Thank you very much for everything.
Yeah,
Thank you. All right, that puts us to 11D, items of information. We will meet here next Tuesday, 9/24/24, public services, 6 p.m. here at City Hall Chambers. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Chairman Strebe. At this time, we'll receive our Public Works Committee report. Chairman Poor.
Well, if we'd stayed where we were, we'd be finished already. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
All righty, 12A is an ordinance vacating an alley or part thereof pursuant to Chapter 30 of the City Code for James and Ashley Roccatello, petitioner at 209 Orchard Street. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval, and need a second.
A second.
Okay. This was discussed at Public Works last week. In that time, there has been some other information and concerns expressed over liability to the city. This garage has been on this property illegally in the alley since well before these folks bought it. If we do vacate the alley, it opens the city up for liability. As far as if we did need to replace a sewer or anything like that, it would become the city's responsibility to take that garage structure down and replace it. in talking with our engineers and some others, it would, even though it passed Public Works, it would be my recommendation that we do not vacate this alley, that we do not set a precedence to where anyone that wanted to vacate a small piece of an alley for their yard or whatever, it wouldn't set a precedent to allow everyone in the city to do that. So, like I say, even though it did pass Public Works last week, it would be my recommendation as chairman to vote no. So, with that, open any discussion? Vice Chairman.
Didn't the city get an easement in case they had to go under it and all that? I remember that at the meeting that issue was brought up, but it seemed to have been resolved.
That's was my understanding that it was in the paperwork, written into the paperwork.
It was.
And
Yeah.
It was, but we as a city would still be liable for. Logan, mate, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, so I don't, without corporation counsel, Mr. Parker here, I don't want to weigh in with a legal opinion. I will state that in the ordinance, it does have an easement, a utility easement located there. I don't know without litigation if the city paying for the garage or if the homeowner paying for the garage or who pays for the garage. I don't know if we can come up with that answer without litigation. So there's liability in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Prior to the public utility easement, we still do have the precedence of segmenting an alley. I get this request probably on a bi-monthly basis, and I do make a recommendation to the petitioner that this is not something typical for the city of Danville, but we will entertain it. As I spoke to the petitioner, it's everybody's right to apply to petition to vacate an alleyway like this. It's a very tricky one. It's an unfortunate situation that the petitioner is in. But yeah, in some fashion, there will be liability to the city of Danville because there is a structure already built on the alleyway.
And so what would that
Required to be
liability
torn
be?
down?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Vice Chairman.
Would we require it to be torn down if it's built in an area that's our alley and shouldn't be there in the first place? We shouldn't allow.
There should be some
I mean, we had a gentleman with a truck and we made a big deal out of that. Here we have a guy blocking an alley. Now, admittedly, it's not an alley you'd even know as an alley. It's overgrown and crummy. You think we should delay this and have a legal opinion?
I mean, I have no problem doing that. I mean, we could postpone a vote until we have a legal opinion, or will that even do any good?
My opinion is that I believe all the information that you're going to need to make a decision will be there tonight.
And I can say from, Mike, going back 5 to 8 years, we've had problems up in this area before. Just like when we found out that there's some people's garage are built right over a sewer. Yeah. And the manhole is in the garage. Why and how did stuff like that ever happen? I mean, really. And that's just one or two that we know about. So there's more out there like this.
Alderman Butler?
Yeah, so what would the liability be then? Is to tear down the garage or?
We don't know. We don't know for sure. There would be some liability because the simple fact to replace the sewer, we would have to have the garage out of there to be able to replace the sewer.
Yeah, or if a sinkhole arises underneath the garage.
And so when they poured the concrete, they poured it right up over the sewer, is what you're saying?
We don't know how they did it 60 years ago.
Oh, 60 years
This
ago.
garage has been on there, so it's not the petitioner's fault at all.
Oh, right.
They just, purchased the property, found out that garage was not on their property. And we're trying to remedy the situation by hiring an attorney, having it become part of their property with the easement. Which still doesn't, with an easement, you still have to, you have to dig down a big sewer. You have to move the garage to get down, or to repair, or whatever.
No,
Well, in this, the paragraph before section 3, it says, in the event that the city or its entity having an easement in the above described property must excavate or otherwise disturb the premises, any repairs or services, improvement, pavement, landscaping, etc., will be done at no cost to the owner. So if the owner, and it doesn't specify the building, so I'm assuming if there's a building on there, we would have to do that also. That's an assumption, again, a litigation problem.
Interpretation at that point. See, I
Right.
interpret that as landscaping and hardened surfaces being poured there, but somebody
Right.
else may not.
Right, correct.
Yeah,
Alderman Williams.
I was just asking, was there some sort of compensation for the owners of the building?
Was there a conversation with the owners?
Yeah, should there be?
They're here in the audience.
If we would have to, there is not currently, if we were to have to do any work there, we would have to compensate them because the alley is built on it. This is one of those situations, in my opinion, that's just extremely impossible because Mr. and Mrs. Rocatello have inherited a situation that is not at all their fault.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to be careful not to incur any liability. I mean, I don't think anyone is suggesting, and I would hope that we're not suggesting that they would demolish their property at all. That's not what we're suggesting.
No.
But that,
And plus, is it setting a precedence?
Oh, yes. And this ain't the first time. I mean, when we done the work out at Denmark Park, or on Denmark Road, to put the new bridge and everything in, we found things that were not done right there, and people owned half of the street. So these are things that we can't do anything about. It just didn't get caught. It was a mistake. Right. And
Sort of no way it affects
it
their
doesn't.
property
No.
as far as the garage or having to demo it or anything like that. It just keeps that open for repaired things. Alderman York.
Okay, that's, you're kind of leading into what my question was, because Mayor said we're not recommending that they demolish a building, and I don't want that. But if we choose to vacate, obviously it becomes their property. If we don't, what are the options then?
Yeah, so it's a possibility that in the future it's a when question, that the garage may have to be demolished. Nobody knows what the repair of a sewer line or the age of the sewer line, what it's going to be.
Okay, so it may never happen.
It may never.
Okay, so then in that case, we haven't vacated it, but the garage still remains there until there's an issue.
Yeah.
And nobody loses.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify and understand. Okay.
So what are they gaining by vacating?
Yeah, that's a good question. What was their gain by wanting to vacate?
I don't know.
Mr. and Mrs. Rocatello, could one of you come forward and answer that, please?
Unless the attorney told you to do it.
After we bought the house, we didn't think nothing of it. We didn't know. We had a survey done last year. That's when we found out. And we were told by the survey guy that basically for insurance purposes, that it would be smart for us to try to acquire it. Do you remember exactly how he worded it?
He said to just petition.
Yeah, basically, he was the one who told us that we should petition the town in regards to acquiring it, but something along the lines of insurance and how it could fall on us. We didn't fully understand it, so that's when we looked into trying to petition to vacate it after we had the survey done and found out we didn't own half our garage and part of our backyard that, we purchased 7 years ago.
The whole alleyway has shrub going all the way across, plus.
Everybody on the block, it is part of their yard. Like, their yard is a part of that alleyway. Everybody's extended their yard to it. It's not like we're the only ones that have it on ours, it's everybody. It's just we're the only ones with a building.
So no one, but, no one else has vacated that part of their property.
No.
So you can continue as is and don't.
Yeah.
Now, do we have to vote? Can we just pull it? leave it back, put it back.
The
I would
ordinance,
put it back there.
the ordinance says we have to vote. So you have to vote now.
We had a
or-
public hearing at Public Works. That was this first step, and then Public Works approved to vacate, then it comes to the full council for the vote.
Well, you know, I want to protect the city, I want to protect them, and to me, I think we ought to have our lawyer, who is not here, tell us what we should be doing, and their lawyer should be telling them what they should be doing, and
You can vote to postpone it, but all I'm saying, Alderman, is at some point we have to by law vote on it.
okay, I understand we have to vote.
By ordinance.
Yeah, I just don't want to cause another problem because we don't know what we're doing.
And there would be a continued easement with utilities on this regardless of whether you guys vacate it or not. Am I right on that? Like, they would still have access. We would still obviously provide access. We wouldn't deny it.
The problem becomes though, Mr. Roccatello, that if we ever have to do work there and it affects your garage in any way, then we have to rebuild your garage. The taxpayers would have to pay to rebuild your garage. That's the issue that we have.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, like you guys said, we kind of bought into that. It's none of our faults, none of your guys' faults. I mean,
It's mainly setting the precedence if we start doing this is.
Vice Mayor.
I think the other issue is if we vacate, vacating lasts forever, which is beyond the lifetime of any of us, not just you guys as the current owners, right? And all of us as city council. 100 years from now, that won't be our property, but the sewer line will still be there. And the sewer line will eventually fail because they all do at some point. So that is a thing that we have to take into consideration as we vote for this, not just the current situation, the current council and current owners of the property, but the property in perpetuity. Because if we change the property lines, then that's changed forever.
I just got notification from our city clerk.
Well, the
that-
ordinance states it has to be approved within 60 days of the filing date. The filing date was July 26th.
July, August, September. Okay, why don't we do this? Let's postpone this vote
For 2 weeks.
until October 1st, which is the next full city council meeting.
Not within, that's past.
Past 60 days.
No,
We
it
have
says
to vote
90, I
tonight.
thought.
She said
60.
60.
Oh, 60.
So we have to vote tonight.
So we have to vote tonight.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Fine.
And this is the good thing about having someone who knows their stuff. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Well, I'll call for the question.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Quick
Alderman
question.
Williams?
I got one question. Have you paid the fee, 620?
It would be refunded to them.
Okay, okay. it was-
We haven't deposited it yet, Chair, or Alderman.
Okay,
We hold on to that check till after council.
okay.
So a vote yes is vacate the alley. A vote no is to go along with what you said earlier, that things have changed.
We vote no, voting no says no, we do not vacate the alley. Yeah. Okay, roll call.
Alderman Williams?
Abstain at this point. No.
You said abstain?
Yeah.
Alderman York?
No.
Cooper?
No.
Butler?
No.
Wilson?
No.
Wands?
No.
Richard?
No.
O'Kane?
No.
Iverson?
Yes, I think we still should.
Poor?
No.
Streebing?
No.
Pickering?
No.
Ludwig?
No.
Teague?
No.
Williams? Abstained? 1 yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
denied. Just go back to the way, as life was, and you'll be getting your refund. Okay,
Really screwed those people.
11B is an ordinance vacating an alley or part thereof pursuant to Chapter 30 of the City Code for KBC Danville LLC, petitioner at 920 North Gilbert Street. Move to dispense with reading, ask for your approval, need a second.
Second.
Okay, questions?
I got one.
Yes.
When will we see any action over there?
I got an update today from Kirchner Building Centers. Once this process is completed, there's going to be a couple of trees assessed and removed on the city's behalf, and then we'll start looking into deeding the property over, and then you'll start seeing some dirt work occurring. So I would say you'll probably start seeing some work being done on the site early 2025.
Any other questions?
Now, do Kirshner's own the land now, or do we own it, still own it?
Didn't we give it to?
The city still owns it.
Still own it.
They own the building. They own the former,
Yeah,
former
Goodwill, yeah.
We currently still own the land until such time as they meet meet our requirements.
Until they're not quite ready. They want to make sure they have their site plan completely ready before acquiring the land.
There's a lot of little pieces to throw together to make it all happen.
Well, don't they still have an alleyway up there to be vacated as well?
This is it.
This is it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson, Poor,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you. Where are we at now? This is.
C, Chairman.
I know, but what number?
Number C, Chairman.
12C.
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 I didn't put a 12 after we changed the numbers. 12C is an ordinance amending the City of Danville ordinance established an enterprise zone within the City of Danville and Vermilion County to add territory and add unit of government to the Danville, Vermilion County enterprise zone. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval. Need a second.
Second.
Alderman Cooper.
Why? I mean, what's the advantage for either party in this?
Yeah.
Territory map.
Other than the incentives that are provided through the enterprise zone, the advantage is we're both expanding our current enterprise zone territories through this project. State legislation was changed in 2023 that allows for municipalities to expand. I believe it was six plus miles of territory, and the city of Danville is gaining a substantial amount of commercial corridor in our enterprise zone territory, all fronted and paid for by the village of Tilton.
And we are doing that. They're going to have to follow our permitting requirements all the way through, aren't they?
Yes, we have a written agreement and a memorandum of understanding with the village of Tilton that they will be following a building code similar to and alike of the city of Danville's.
To your knowledge, are they any different than we are, permitting wise?
Oh.
Well, after this agreement, they won't be
right
in this territory. So we can only review where their new enterprise zone will be passed. We'll only have the right to review those documents, but they do, and we have confirmed they have passed a building code for the village of Tilton.
Logan, didn't we, this takes us up to 16 acres, is that what it is?
Square miles.
Square miles, I mean 16.
Yeah.
Because we were at what, 12?
Yeah, it was around 12 roughly. I don't have the numbers in front of me tonight, but it essentially extended it. We are basically only in South Danville and to the east over the state line. Now we cover every major thoroughfare and commercial corridor in the city of Danville.
Yeah, because this is including quite a bit of Georgetown Road down there.
It is.
And there's supposedly more development going in that area that, I guess, will we oversee that development or what?
We will not make decisions on what's being built, only ensuring that it is built to building specifications.
Alderman York.
Yes, logically speaking, this is a no-brainer to me. What's the downside? I don't see a downside.
That's a positive way of thinking. Competition would be the only downside that I would see,
Okay,
and we are not
yeah.
considering it as that.
Yeah. Okay.
Good spot for a marijuana store.
Yeah. They voted only. Keep it up. Okay, that's wrong. Discussion. Okay, no one else? Roll call, please, on 12C.
Alderman Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you. Does anyone have a problem taking 12D through L as one?
No problem.
Does anybody want anything pulled? Okay. I make a motion to take items D 12 through L together, move to dispense the reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
Second.
These were all discussed.
That was quadruple.
This was all discussed at length in Public Works.
Yes, it
Alderman
was.
Teague.
Yes.
Did we discuss K&L at Public Works? Because they have asterisks next to them. No. No, we did not.
K, paperwork included, K.
We discussed them, but we
We
didn't.
saved
we discussed them,
100.
but we didn't vote on them because
Steve,
we
was it 100?
we didn't get the proposal until
Under
that day.
$10,000 we saved on the liability insurance, I believe.
Yeah, it was 110,000 from last year.
Okay.
But she's right, we did not approve.
We did not.
Intergovernment, okay, you want to pull that one?
We discussed them, but we did not
Yeah, we did.
vote on that.
So I would pull those two because they were not discussed in depth at Public
Okay.
Works. But everything else.
Okay, so we'll take D, 12D through J. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
Second.
Second, okay, any discussion?
You don't want to read them all?
No. They're in print and digital and electronic and. So, we'll take, Madam Clerk, roll call on 12D through J.
Alderman Butler,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you. 12K is a resolution awarding bid 752 for Danville Mass Transit Fleet Liability Insurance. Move to dispense the reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
Okay, Steve? Like I say, we discussed this at Public Works, but we were saving $110,000 over last year's, or our last liability insurance. Steve, anything else on that?
No.
So, any questions?
Chairman, it's just a lengthy process. We talked about it a little bit at Public Works. The reason I brought it with permission to full council is just because of the timing. We literally go back and forth with different insurance companies, probably a couple of months, with all the different information they want. So we send it out in plenty of time, but by the time they get all their questions answered, it's pretty close because it expires October 1st of this year. And it was $110,000 from last year, so.
How many bids did you get?
This was a sole one.
Yeah,
Last year, we had to go back out and find somebody to get it.
That's
so
right.
I was really happy with getting this one. I had dealt with 3 over probably a 2.5 month time span. I guess they wasn't happy with some of the answers, but they were all truthful, so that's all we can do.
Yeah, past history, I think it's always been one.
Yeah, well, it has. Not that many people out there to insure fleet.
It had quadrupled in 3 years.
Yeah, I remember a lot.
So at least we went down.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streebing?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you. 12L is a resolution amending Resolution 2024-95, approved an intergovernmental agreement for the demolition of buildings. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
Second.
Okay. And this is what, been bouncing back and forth between the city, the county, the city, the county, and
Chairman, the only thing that's been removed is the early completion incentive.
So it's not going to be in the contract at all?
That's correct.
And what was the reason for that?
I can answer that if you want.
Correct.
So that was put in due to the wishes of previous engineer Cole wanting to just incentivize getting this going and getting it down. After speaking to our consultant and hearing the concerns from the county, I spoke with the consultant about it and just said, hey, I'm seeking some understanding here. He advised this happens in many different contracts, and he said, hey, there's a lot of times that this gets put in. He said, from my understanding and my observations over the years, what it actually does is encourages unsafe work practices and things of that sort. And he said, basically, hey, on a project like this, that may not be what you want to do anyway, so I wouldn't necessarily argue against taking it out. So that's when we decided, hey, maybe we need to just remove it altogether, and that makes things easier on all parts. So
we're still looking at 550 days. That was still the estimate.
that's still the estimate, yeah.
And this would have been $325 a day incentive for any days less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alderman O'Kane.
And then I know the county had questions on them having any say-so after the bidding, I guess it was. Did that stay in the original, like it was in the original paperwork?
Everything stayed the same except
Okay.
for the removal, Chairman, Alderman.
Other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Wands?
Yes.
Pashard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Hoare?
Yes.
Streebing?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you. Item of information? Nope. Nothing? Concludes our report.
Thank you, Chairman Tory. Any items of information for the good of the cause?
I've got something.
Yes, Chairman.
Just make sure everybody comes down for the Fall Festival this weekend. Like I say, we pretty the place up a little bit. Grass has been cut in everybody's yards and everything, so we're ready for whoever comes out. And I think a lot of the people out there are going to have rummage sales too. So,
Usually do.
yeah.
Chairman, thank you for that, and also like to remind everyone that there will be a cleanup at 9 o'clock as well, the annual river cleanup. The DHS class of 2014 is having their reunion, and they will have members there to assist with that. I must apologize to you all. I will be in Chicago for the IML conference, so I will not be getting back until after that. But you guys know I'm normally down for the cleanup, so. Yes. Any other items? Yes, Mr. Butler.
Yes, I have one, and I hope that during the fall festival that they had the elephant ears down there. My wife loves it.
Favorite.
And on the other note, it's just the news of the report that I got, that we all got about Dr. Natko. I'm just surprised that nobody else didn't say anything about it, but it's just that my gut feeling is, is to the fact that there was an investigation went through DAC to find Dr. Natko because of a different agreement between two men. Of finding the fact, and I truly believe that in order to protect this council, is that we ourselves that need to do a investigation of the incident, from my mayor, to the fact that I just feel that the council shouldn't be responsible. for his actions if there become a lawsuit for defamation of character. And so somehow if we can get that on the agenda or the docket or what have you, this is what I expect the council to do. Because our people holds our leaders accountable. And when they let self get involved to cause each other to bicker back and forth, it doesn't look good for either party. And so I feel that we need to do our investigation as ourselves through the council. If we have to go out, state's attorney or the attorney general, I think that's what we need to do.
Any other items of information for the good of the cause?
I've just got one comment for Public Works. I'd like to thank you guys for cleaning the pond up on Lynch Road.
Oh, yeah.
It looks amazing. Hopefully we can keep on top of it a little bit better next year. But thanks for all that and all the work you guys did in Ellsworth getting ready for this weekend. So thank you.
You'll be glad to know we don't have a need for closed session.
Come on.
I would have voted no.
Having satisfied the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Have a great night, everyone.